Hello everyone, and welcome back to Tech Time. So today is going to be the first video in a series of videos about using Proxmox. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through how to download and install Proxmox. So the first step is going to be to download Proxmox. And we'll go to proxmox.com. Don't worry, I'll put these links in the video description for you. And then we'll go to the downloads page. Then on the downloads page, we're going to look for Proxmox VE for Proxmox Virtual Environment. At the time of this recording, it's version 8.2 ISO installer. So we'll click download, and then we will save that somewhere. Once that's finished downloading, we're going to need to burn that into a USB or make a bootable USB. And there's a bunch of different programs out there, but my favorite is Balena Etcher. And so I'll put a link down below to their website to download that if you don't already have that on your computer. And then once it opens, I'm going to click on Flash from File. I'm going to navigate to the Proxmox iOS image that we just downloaded. I'm going to click Open. And then I'm going to select Target. And in my case, it's this Kingston Data Traveler USB with 31 gigabyte size, which is more than enough for what we're doing. So I'm going to select it, and then I'm going to click Flash. If you're not familiar with Balena Etcher, there's two steps to the process. The first step is that they flash the drive, and then they double check the drive to make sure that it's successfully flashed. So right now we are flashing the drive. And now it's validating that it's successfully flashed. Now it does have an option for you to skip this part, but it doesn't hurt to validate it, so we're going to go through it anyway. And now that this is finished, I'm going to eject my USB and stick it into my computer I have standing to the side here that I'm going to be installing Proxmox onto. Now that the USB is plugged into the secondary device, I'm going to power it on and boot from the USB. So our USB loads up to this screen here, where you can install Proxmox using the terminal user interface, or you can go to advanced options. But for this situation, we're going to go through the graphical interface. Then we're going to be met with Proxmox's end user license agreement, and we're just simply going to click agree. Then in the next menu, you can select which disk you want to install Proxmox on. In my situation, I just have the one drive here, but you may have other options. And then you can select the specific file type you want to do by clicking on options, and you can specify specific sizes on the disk, or you can specify specific file system. I'm simply going to keep everything on the default, and then click next. And now you can set what country you're in, and you can set your time zone, which for me is Chicago. And you can set your keyboard layout, which is correct for me, US. And click next. Now you're going to create a password. This is for the root user, and you'll confirm the password. Again, this is going to be for the root user. And then you're going to put a valid email address, because this is going to be an email that they're going to send updates to. And then click next. Now I want you to set up a host name. For me, this is going to be PVE-node-2, since this is going to be the second one in my home lab Proxmox setup. I need to put .com so that it will see it as a fully qualified domain name. I have to type it right. Now I'm going to leave the default IP address range that it pulls up, because this works in my current network. Now depending on your home situation, you can change that as needed. And make a special note of this IP address, because this is where you're going to be able to access the web interface from. And so now we'll click next, and it will give you a summary and ask you to confirm that everything is correct. And I suggest that you uncheck this automatically reboot option here at the bottom, and I'll show you why at the end of the install process. And now we'll click install, and this is going to take a while, so I'm going to fast forward. Now that it's finished, make special note of this IP address here, because this is how you will access Proxmox on the web interface after you restart the server. And so we'll click reboot, and while that is restarting, I'll move back over to my computer screen. Now when you visit your web portal for your Proxmox server, you're going to get this security warning here. Now Proxmox uses self-signed certificates, which is hard for web browsers to verify, which is fine because it's not recommended for your Proxmox server to be externally accessible. You should only be able to access your Proxmox from inside your home network. So you can click Advanced, and then you'll see an option to proceed. We'll click Proceed, and then we're met with a Proxmox VE login page, and the username is going to be root, and the password is going to be the password we set up during the install process. Close that to get that out of the way. We're going to leave the realm default. I'll get into details on what that means in a future video, but for right now, just leave that the default Linux PAM standard authentication realm. and click Login. Now this error message about no valid subscription is to be expected because we're using the open source community edition. Now Proxmox does have an enterprise edition which has a more prompt customer support option to it, which would be ideal for an enterprise environment, but for home labs or small businesses, the open source version is going to be fine. So we'll just click OK. And here we are in the web interface, successfully logged in. So we've successfully installed Proxmox. And that's as far as I'm going to get into this video. In the next video, I'll go into more details about this interface here and some more aspects of it for you to look at. Speaking from experience, first time looking at it is pretty daunting. So be sure to tune into the next video.